There's another word, another term that I'd love for you to unpack a little for us. Um, in reading James Hillman's Dream in the Underworld,
Hmm.
this word underworld. So I've come across this through, the Greek tradition
Sure.
and indigenous wisdom, the underworld journey and a vision quest ceremony.
Yes.
Um, so as opposed to the sort of ascent, to God or
Yeah.
spirit,
Heaven.
there's this other direction, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So could you help us understand what that means to kind of go down and into soul as opposed to up and maybe out to spirit? Or
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you're talking there about, first of all, a distinction between soul and spirit, which is central to this work. Central. Maybe I should say something
yeah.
about.
Why don't we start with that?
So we might understand spirit as our reach beyond ourselves, our desire to transcend our limited lives. So people usually who want to learn to meditate, which is a spiritual practice, the practice of the spirit, usually want to expand their consciousness. They want to expand their awareness of the world in which they live. And in some ways, feel connected to a much, much greater world, even if it's invisible, through their meditation or through ritual and belief or whatever. Sometimes that spirit, being in the spirit, doesn't have to be religious in that sense at all. I think sending rockets into space is a spirit activity, even though it's so concrete. We are reaching for the stars. We're really trying to transcend the limits of our lives here and trying to know as much as we can. That's a very spirit thing to do. Now, the realm of soul is the opposite direction. It is deep within our intimate lives. That means that our homes are very important to the life of the soul. By the way, to be in that realm of spirit, reaching high, it really helps to detach from ordinary life. If you can eat less and go on a retreat and various things like that, some deprivations help. But for the soul, it's just the opposite. Attachment is what feeds the soul. So from the realm of soul, you really need the attachments. If you can't be attached, then you have a soul problem. You really need to be able to to love your home, to love your family, can't stand being away from people, from pets even. Those are all indications of soul. And you can even have a soulful attachment to objects like your computer or your car or other things you have. That's what Hillman and others have called the soul of the world, anima mundi. So there's that sense that the world itself has a soul too. And it means that we're all attached to each other and connected. And that's why it's so important in this world of ours today to have more soul. It's not enough to be spiritually enlightened. It's important to feel our deep, deep connections with each other, our common humanity, our common possessions of things, that things are really ours and we have to take care of our world. The things we have in common, it's so important. So there's a real humanizing aspect to soul, whereas there's a transcendent purpose in the spirit. It's more like going beyond the human, whereas the soul is more the humanizing side. I don't mean to say that the spiritual practice can't be humanizing. I think it can. But the soul really resides in our humanity and our individuality and our intimate lives.
Mm-hmm. And why the word under? What would that
It's a
mean?
metaphor. It's a
It's a metaphor.
metaphor. It's not necessary. It's opposed to, I think naturally when you want to say, I want to reach higher, we think of the sky, we look up, the sky is a great image, itself. It's used in almost all religious texts. Our Father who art in heaven. I've translated the Gospels recently myself, and
Oh,
I
wow.
translate that as our Father in the sky.
Hmm.
Like the Greek is sky, the word is sky.
Is it?
So I think sky is a great image for this spiritual trend, or a mountain can be an image of the spirit too, because it's like a steeple in a church. It's like going off into nothingness and into the forever. So Mary Douglas, an anthropologist, called them natural symbols. Like not something that we have to, not just cultural. It's like it's a natural symbol to look at the sky and to imagine that which is beyond, and to look down deep within, to look down and say, oh yeah, I can look down into a deep ravine or valley, and I look at it and I can feel what that's like, all that depth down there. And you know that it doesn't take much of a leap for me to realize that I feel that inside too. That I have my own depth. I look down like into my own valley, and I see a lot of emotion, and I see a lot of memories, and I see fantasy, desires there, and fears. They're all there in that valley deep within.